Let the insults and sarcasm begin. You're listening to Raw Mike Richards, heard only on Newstalk Sauga 960.
I'm coming out of retirement to kick your ass!
Gail Kim is back! Double leg! And Gail is all over Tessa Blanchard! Gail Kim drops the bombshell! And takes out Tessa running clothesline from the first ever Knockouts champion!
Newstalk Sauga 960. There'll be a lot of that going on Sunday night. I think I've got 3-pack of tickets to still give away. That's it.
Oh, wow. We've gone through them. People are wanting these tickets badly.
For a Sunday night, this is going to be pretty active, I guess is the way that I would put it. And if you just heard that clip, that has been basically her entire life. Gail Kim. Now, I think we can only take partial. I think she's got dual citizenship now.
Correct. Born here.
Yep.
Born here, though, so she was a Canadian first.
And I guess a proud Ryerson grad. Now, considering it was a Polytechnical Institute when I went there, and I was not close to graduating. They were not pleased with my performance. But they probably were with hers, and she joins us now as we get pretty excited to have Gail Kim on the show this morning. Good morning, Gail.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're great. We're so excited that you joined us here this morning, and I did not realize who you were married to. So I got
yes.
I better be.
I've got a wonderful husband.
You have an enormous husband. That's what you have.
He's not as big as people think he is, though. I think on TV he appears larger.
Well, I got it. Like when you see a rear view mirror kind of image, like he's a little bigger than he appears.
No, he's big, man.
He's very fit.
Because
fit.
this guy comes on, and of course I'm used to watching with the advent of cooking shows and chefs, and I see what most of them look like, and then this guy comes on, and I'm like, you better agree with every criticism he has of your creme brulee. Or you going through that window?
I think with him, though, in our relationship, he better agree with everything I do.
Yes.
I would say that, and we're thrilled to have you here this morning. So where was high school for you? It was here in Toronto, was it not?
It was, yes. I went to York Memorial Collegiate Institute, and that was at Keele and Eglinton.
Yep.
And then I heard you guys talking about Ryerson, and I was there when it was a Polytechnic Institute.
You were? Okay.
I believe. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's only,
I went to University of Toronto. So I would like to say that I finished, but I got to be honest, and I didn't. I became a wrestler. So I kind of walked away from all that.
So how does that happen? So you're taking kinesiology. So obviously you were probably a pretty good athlete, I'm guessing, in school, whether it was high school, university.
Right.
You certainly had. So how do you even break it to, I don't know, parents and say, you know what? I think I'm going to be a wrestler. How did that go over?
Parents.
Yeah.
So basically what happened was I became a massive fan again because I watched it when everyone else did. And then I kind of fell out of it. And then when I hit college, I became so engrossed in a storyline. At the time, the women were so athletic. And obviously, I think everyone in the city knows Trish Stratus.
Of course.
She was one of the girls that I kind of looked up to thinking, oh, this girl's from my hometown. She made it to WWE. They have no Asian women. Let me go for this thing. I was just always very spontaneous and just went for whatever I had my mind set on. And 2 years later, after training, I got signed by WWE, and now it's been 18 years since then now. So I've been very fortunate.
And now you're, you were retired. You come out of retirement.
Yes.
What gave you the idea to come back out of retirement? Obviously, as a fan, I was kind of disappointed that you retired to begin with because you still have,
right.
As they say, a lot of gas in the tank, so to speak. But you're back after a year from the ring. What brings you out of retirement to battle at Rebellion on Sunday?
Right. I mean, I think on the outside, it might have looked like I had a lot of gas in the tank, but my back wasn't feeling that. It was deteriorating at the time. And so I had to make a decision. And at that point, I thought, I've accomplished everything I've wanted to. I felt like I was already kind of transitioning into that helping phase and, to the younger generation. And then just recently, Tessa Blanchard has come up on the scene, and she's a third-generation wrestler. I saw a lot of myself in her. The passion, the dedication to be the best in this business. And, she pretty much pressed my buttons enough for me to come out of retirement, along with 2 doctor referrals, of course, to make sure I was good to go. But I just thought, you know what, I think this could be a great one-off, and it's one generation versus the next.
Well, and I think the truth is, you talk about, watching Trish Stratus and some trailblazers to a degree in the way in which they handle themselves. I've told the story on air when I got a chance to meet Chyna in literally her first 6 months of wrestling, and she talked about how and look, she looked nothing like she eventually does, but I think the pressure of having to look a certain way, because she was very open about how hard she was finding it with being a woman in that environment, especially she said when you get called those names by a 12-year-old boy when you're walking towards the stage, really, really emotionally difficult. Now, these are the women that had to take a lot of the brunt of what it eventually becomes. Did you find in your career that you had to put up with any of that kind of stuff?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think all wrestlers kind of get you, whether you're male or female, but I think as a female, it's getting better in our business. It's not quite where I would like it to be. We're making a lot of strides, a lot of, they're calling a women's revolution right now. And I think, though, when we get to the point where we get paid equally, when we're in the same spot, like a main event, the girls just main evented at WrestleMania. If we're at that point, then I would say, okay, we're making great strides. And in terms of, you develop a very thick skin in this business because, I mean, over the years, it's changed. It was a lot about how you looked before, and now it's getting better with that. But, I mean, it's done damage to me for sure. I'm going to be honest, But we're all very strong women, I think, mentally, physically, emotionally, and you just learn how to cope with things and just make the best of it and try to, set a good example for those who watch you.
Yeah, and you've done a brilliant job doing it as well. We're talking to Gail Kim. She will be at Rebellion on Sunday for the big pay-per-view for Impact Wrestling. They're calling it the best of the two eras, and it definitely is. Gail, the last year, going back to what we were talking about last year, you've been out of the ring, and people talk about when you have to get back in the ring, there will be ring rust. Have you been working on anything in the last little bit?
Oh, yeah. I think if anyone knows me and my work ethic when it comes to being in the ring, they knew. I mean, I even told the company, if you want me to do this, I need some, heads up so I can get ready for it. Because you can be in shape and work out every day, but it's not the same as when you have a match. Completely different ball game. And so I've been literally busting my butt for 2 months straight, cardio, everything. And I feel ready. I feel really good, and I'm ready to get in the ring with a girl that's almost half my age. I'm ready to prove to all those people that someone at 42 years old can hang with someone that's 23 years old.
Well, I know where I'm putting my money. Am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to openly say who I'm betting on? Because I am betting on you, just so you know.
Okay, good.
And we have 20 people who have won.
I won't let you down.
Oh, well, I hope you don't, because times are tough right now for me a little bit. So I'd like my children to go to college. I would like them to go to Ryerson. So if you could come through for me, that would be awesome. It's funny. The one thing that I've always said, although Dave is the wrestling aficionado, he's watched it since he was a kid. He just knows so much about it. I've really only known it from the interaction I've had with those that have come on my show over the last, I'd say, 25 years. The one thing that is always so evident, and generally people are going to talk about WWE and a lot of those big names that we've had on, but I'm saying in the wrestling world, regardless of the league, I've never met better professionals in any sporting field in my life. There's something that is, I don't know if it's tangible, but every time I talk to any wrestler, and maybe one of the last ones was Kofi Kingston, who was on our show, you all see, well, he's a fantastic guy, as you all are. Why is it that in something that could be perceived as, even though it's sports entertainment, but it's still very physical, it could look very violent, and yet the people involved are really the most ultimate professionals I've ever met? Why is that?
I've actually never heard that before.
Really?
But I'm not going to disagree. I think everyone I've come across has been nothing but professional. And I don't know, maybe it's because we're a crossover of sports and entertainment. And so we understand, the entertainment aspect of it and having fun and fun with your characters and then giving people a little peek into what our real lives are. And I think they enjoy that.
Gail, how often do you make it back to the city? Do you still have family and friends here? Because, you're not living here anymore. And a lot of times, time and length of time kind of distances everything.
I agree. I just finished saying in another interview that I'm a bad daughter. I do not come home enough. I travel a lot with my husband and then with work. And so I do need to make an effort. The only problem is this traffic here.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it?
Days around traffic and the weather, of course, because now I live in Florida. So it's very different during the winter.
We should tell our fan base here, not only will Gail be at Rebellion on Sunday in the main event of that pay-per-view, you're throwing out the first pitch at the Blue Jay game. Have you ever done that? You're going to be there tonight, and it's a big one, too.
I haven't done it, and everyone's putting the pressure on me, and apparently there's a big debut tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so they said, oh, it's such an important game. And I said, oh, great. And I'm throwing out the first pitch. So it's either I go for really good or really bad.
Okay, let me tell you something, Gail. And I'm just being completely honest here. This might be one of the biggest games in Blue Jay history, just because the player that they've just recalled.
No pressure.
Yeah. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the greatest prospect in the history of the organization, and they say this is their next big star. So, you know what? You're starting off this game, so I hope you got your good stuff when you're cranking it down the plate.
Wait. So maybe I should do it really bad, and I make it really good.
You'll make the highlights, right?
That's what I said. I said if I hear it really bad, then I'll make the highlights. Because I've seen a couple of bad ones. The 50 Cent one.
Oh, it's terrible.
The Mariah Carey one. Have you seen the Mariah Carey one?
I have. I was like, and especially what she was wearing too. I mean, don't wear that, okay?
I'm not. I'm wearing jeans and running shoes.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, as you know, there'll be a lot of Koreans in there. Baseball's pretty big to them, so you better throw some stuff too.
I know that. Yeah. I'm going to try. I practiced a little bit, and when I mean practice, I mean 20 throws or pitches, and they all landed somewhere different. So it really is going to be luck and stuff.
Well, it's too bad you weren't thrown in Kansas City. You might make the team.
Are they bad this year?
I'm just curious too. So there you are. You majored in nutrition. And so you meet Robert, and he, of course, is, a bit of a physical specimen. So and when you started going out, did you look at like what he was eating and say, you really got to cut back on that?
Opposite. And it's so funny because everyone sees him and he's very muscular and fit. And so they assume that he teaches me everything when it comes to eating and fitness. But it was actually the other way around. So he was a chef and ate kind of whatever he wanted. And obviously I feel like men have better genetics in the sense of gaining muscle. And so I remember our very first date was a meal. It was, 4 a.m., I think, at a diner because I had come back from work. And he had ordered just whatever he wanted for breakfast, sausage, eggs, buttered toast. And I had egg whites with wheat toast dry, and I think he was just kind of like, oh my goodness, I need to eat healthy. So he cleaned up his diet for a good 6 weeks and then went back to normal. And now he just eats in moderation, just like I do. So we kind of balanced each other out.
Now, when's the first time he saw you do what you do for a living? How did that happen?
Oh boy. You know what? I think he kind of Googled me right away.
It's the way of the land,
right?
Out
on our first date until like 6 weeks after getting to know each other. So he kind of read up on me and saw what I did and had a good background, a little bit of information on my background. So he was just amazed at watching a live performance. And this is what I always tell fans or non-fans. If you've never been to an event, even if you're not a fan, you're going to love the live show because it's just a spectacle. You just really respect what the athletes are capable of doing, and a lot of, entertainment value for your dollar as well. And that was one of the things Robert always said too when he'd watch. It's like, this is great. You get so much entertainment for hours, and he could just not even know who the wrestlers are and still appreciate it.
I agree 100% because that's my category. That completely describes my category. I saw it once, And I've never seen anything like it. And again, it gets back to the professionalism, the understanding of what a show is. So I know it's going to happen both Sunday and Monday when you're here back home, I guess I would say, to a degree. And we're thrilled that you joined us here this morning, Gail. It was really nice catching up with you, and I'm happy for all your success. And I'm sure regardless of anything that you do beyond wrestling will be very successful. That I have no doubt about.
Aw, thanks, guys. I love Canadians. You guys are nice.
Thanks, Gail. You take care.
Gail.
Okay, bye.
You just got your morning drive back. Raw Mike Richards on Newstalk Sauga 960 with traffic on the fives, featuring the best and most detailed West End traffic in the GTA. Raw Mike Richards and traffic on the fives, exclusively on Newstalk Sauga 960.